Hey everyone, welcome to Live Exotic. Let's talk about driving a supercar daily and whether you should or whether you shouldn't. Now before we get in this video, make sure to hit subscribe. Otherwise, this cute little puppy behind me won't get the love that she needs. You wouldn't want that, would you? That doesn't get old. As a daily driver, that would not get old. I did it for about a week because I needed a place to store this car. That I was driving this every day to work and, you know, the gym, grocery store, everywhere in between. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't be able to do it every day. And there's a few reasons for that. The first reason is the back pain. So I'm 6'4", and it just doesn't, my body just doesn't allow me to be able to drive this every day and still feel comfortable, right? It's a really low car, it takes a lot to get out of. Now, I'm young, I'm not saying that that's what held me back, but for some reason, my lower back was starting to give me a lot of pain the more I was driving it every day. So that was one reason why I personally can't daily drive this car. So when you talk about comfort, one thing you have to point out is there is no sexy way to get out of a supercar. I'm 6'4", 185 pounds, and it's not cute when I get out. Getting in, not so bad. A little sexy. Getting out, not very sexy. Not to mention, if I have anything in the passenger seat, I usually have to throw it on the ground, get out of the car, and then pick my things up. Wow factor, right? You get a supercar, and I'll be honest, like when I test drove this vehicle, I did not know I was going to fall in love with it. This was not the car that I thought that I wanted. I didn't necessarily want the R8. I've never thought about wanting the R8. But when I test drove it at the dealership, I couldn't believe it. It was something, I literally can't put it in words. It felt so different, so amazing. But as I drove it for a week, I want to say the wow factor was there, but it was starting to dull. It wasn't quite the amazement of every time you get inside, you're like, oh, I'm in a supercar. This is crazy. It was like, I gotta get to work. I need to get to work like now. Like I'm gonna be late. I gotta go to work. And so with that idea, it's no longer a recreation. It's something that you're getting into to go do the mundane tasks of working or going to the grocery store. You know, the things that you do on your daily life that you don't really maybe care for. To the gym, it was fun. I mean, I love driving to the gym. That's great. But it was becoming not as sexy as it once was when I wasn't driving it every day. So now it's been a week that it's been in the garage, and when I got in it this morning, that wow factor was there. I was like, oh gosh, I cannot wait to take this out today. I cannot wait to make some videos. I absolutely love this car. It felt amazing again. Like the first time I drove it, I got in it and was like, oh gosh, yes, this is gonna be a good day. Now, if you're using this as a daily driver, you'd have to get groceries at some point in time. And maybe you've got another vehicle that you could get groceries with. But the problem with using this car to get groceries is that I can only fit my drone, a lunchbox, an extra quart of oil, and I might be able to put a backpack in there. Probably not enough room for a week of groceries. Now, another reason I don't care to daily drive this car is because you're running up the miles. So on a car like this, on an exotic, maintenance can be fairly expensive, or it cannot be. Running up the miles is going to cause more wear and tear on your vehicle, thus causing, unwanted maintenance possibly sooner than it could have been if you had not driven it quite as much. Now, if you've got all the money in the world, more power to you, but I don't want to have to replace all the magnetic shocks for $2,000 a corner on something that I don't need to. So, that's another reason. I started getting a little worried of the wear and tear I was doing to the car, because it sits low, right? It sits low, and it also is on rubber bands, basically. So I started to become a little bit worried about that. I have plans to, be able to trade this in for what I'm hoping may be a Lamborghini in the future, right? That's like a childhood dream of mine. And to be able to even get this, because I couldn't find a Lamborghini, post-pandemic world is insane for used cars right now. But I'm hoping that I can trade this in for good value in the next 2 to 3 years, and when things start to become a little bit more available again, so that I can get into something that I've always wanted to, like I said, from childhood. So I don't want to run up the miles too much either. That's that kind of that resale and holding on to value situation. Another reason is it's constantly in the elements when you're, let's say, at work. So while I was at work, I was staying late, had to do some extra things, and it started raining. And I was like, okay, rain's fine. I wasn't too worried about it. But then the building I work in has a metal roof. Then I started hearing what sounded like hail. So I got to my nearest window, looked out, and it was what's called grappling up here in the mountains. And basically, it's like pre-hail is what it looks like. They're tiny little balls, not enough to necessarily do damage, but it had me just freaking out that I was about to get some serious hail damage after I just bought this car. So that's something to think about too. It's constantly out there. It's in the elements for extended periods of time. So it's difficult to feel like you're keeping it safe. It's just really hard to feel like you're keeping it safe when it's outside. Now, of course, I also had to park in a parking lot during the day when I was working. Whew. Okay, that feels a lot more comfortable. Yeah, if you want something that's not going to beat the ever-living shit out of you every day when you're driving it, this Challenger is definitely a daily driver. So this has been my daily driver for the last roughly 10 years. This last year is about the only year that I've actually driven something else on a daily basis, being my truck, because I'm in the mountains. Before that, this was my daily driver through the snow, through the summer, everything. And it's more comfortable, more roomy, has an actual trunk that you can use, and it still sounds like this. And you can still do this. You still get that sports car feel. You get a little bit of noise with it, and it ticks a lot of those boxes that you would want for a fun car, but a car that you can drive every day. That's why this is a perfect daily driver, and why the R8 is a perfect car to be able to go out and have a bunch of fun with on the weekends. So guys, if you like this video, give me a like, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget, always live exotic. See you next time.